Hi there! I have a mini album that I want to share with you today. I want to go through the completed pages and I'll tell you a little bit about some of them. The process that I use to organize these and some tips on mini albums is in my May newsletter, which I've sent out at this point. But if you still subscribe in the next few days, I will resend it again one more time, and you can have access to that exclusive video if you would like. This album is for my dad. He has a big birthday coming up in May, so I've done an album about his life, and I chose an 8x8 format. The lettering here, I didn't want it to be too gold, so I mixed gold and pewter embossing powder together when I embossed those letters. And then I just started going through some of the old pictures that I had from the family of him when he was a little boy. I don't have any stories for these, so I didn't do any journaling with them. And I have this wonderful family photograph with most of his siblings. His youngest sibling, I don't think, had been born at this point. Then with the lettering, I just painted over that and did some stamping and adding a little bit of glaze to it to give it a little extra shine. My color scheme for the album was blue, yellow, and gray, and those are his favorite colors. So I used a lot of grays in these early photos that went with them very well. The background for this is a Jenny Bolin stencil, and then I went over it with light modeling paste. And I thought that kind of went with the 50s time period that these were done. I took some photos from his high school yearbook, just took photos of the photos and printed those out, and then we did have one photo of him in cap and gown, and then talked some about his Army service. And then these pages, I'm sorry, I've already put them in page protectors. I hope they're not glaring too badly. For this one, I did use my silhouette to cut quite a few of the titles that you've seen before and continued here. This particular one, though, the silhouette just, it couldn't even handle cutting something that small, so I printed the word marriage to go along with the rest of the text. This one also has a background with a stencil and some modeling paste that I added a little bit of yellow ink to. I've put a letter in this envelope from me, and then I did a baby carriage using the silhouette. And I put some of my photos, I've still got some gluing here to make these things hold, but these are corner, what do you call them? The little corner things that you can put your photo in so that you can remove it. In case I wanted to take those photos out for, I think I've scanned all of these, but just to be sure, I use those photo corners. And then one of the biggest changes in my parents' life is they opened a business, so I wanted to focus on that and did quite a bit of journaling, and I just printed this right on the background for this particular designer paper. These pages have a little bit more designer paper and stickers and things, as this had to do with travel. I took some of the journaling cards and I ran this one through the printer and put some of my journaling on that one. This one just confounded me. I could not get my words and my spacing right. I kept experimenting on plain paper, so I finally just printed out his name and put on the top there and decided not to worry about it anymore. Sometimes when you're working on these things and you've got a deadline, you have to eventually just say, okay, that's enough. That's enough fussing. I don't think that every page in a mini album has to have a title. The journaling here kind of continues along from the trips, so I didn't do a title for this, but I did use the same stencil I had used earlier, and I used ink with it for the background. Because it's an album for a man, there's not tons of embellishments, you know, flowery things and stuff, but I really did try to put something interesting on the backgrounds. And here I have a pocket so I can have a letter that my aunt sent that she wanted to include for my dad for his birthday, and then some stories on this little tag that I created to pull out there. There's one other 2-page spread that has to do with the travel that I haven't included in this video because it's part of my No Photo, No Problem PDF. I had a lot of photos for my dad's life, but there were some stretches there where I didn't have anything, and they did a lot of traveling abroad and took a lot of pictures, and I've already put those in another album for him. But traveling within the U.S., they had hardly any pictures. So I did a 2-page layout to deal with the no photo issue, and it's one of my favorites, and it's in that PDF. So I won't leave it. I won't put it in this video since it's already in that product. And then just a couple more pages with some family pictures and a page from their anniversary party a few years ago. And then the final page of my parents together. That photo is several years old, but it's still one of my favorites. So thank you for taking the tour with me of the mini album. I'm delighted to have it done, and I'm going to put it in the page protectors and ready to go to my dad in just a few days.